Hello, welcome to my place. We're looking at Isaiah chapter 61, and I want to read verses 1 to 3. It says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the afflicted. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to captives and freedom to prisoners, to proclaim the favorable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to grant those who mourn in Zion, giving them a garland instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the mantle of praise instead of a spirit of fainting. So they will be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified." Now, my first comment in this is that just because this is written in the Old Testament does not mean it is the Old Covenant. These verses are very much a part of the new and better covenant that I absolutely love to talk about. How do we know this? Well, it talks about a future Zion. Now, Zion and Mount Zion can refer to the children of Israel. But if you look at Hebrews chapter 12, it tells us that we have come to Mount Zion. It's the symbol of salvation. And there's a whole teaching about that I'd love to get into right now, but I don't have time. Now, when it deals with the future, and especially with future promises that work with the New Covenant wording, we can see it as applying to us in our walk with God. Anyways, that being said, as we accept the gospel, we are given a tremendous exchange, and the prophet Isaiah lists them here. We are given beauty, oil, and a garment of praise, all positive things, in exchange for ashes and mourning and the spirit of heaviness, all negative things. Now, the reason we are given these is so that we may be called trees of righteousness that the Lord planted, all for God's glory. Note that we are called trees of righteousness for God's glory. The moment you start to deny your righteousness, you are taking away the work that God did for you. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 21 says, "God made Jesus Christ, who knew no sin, to be sin on your behalf, so that we might become the righteousness of God in Christ." Now, before we came to Christ, we did not know any righteousness, just like Jesus knew no sin before the cross. But God placed sin on Jesus so that he would become our true sacrifice to finish the work that God began. And just like that, when we accept what Jesus did on the cross as our substitute, God does the great exchange and gives us his righteousness. Now we are truly called the righteousness of God because God did it, all for his glory. He planted the incorruptible seed of salvation into your life and gave you all the positive stuff of following him in exchange for all the negative stuff of the world. God bless you richly. We'll see you next time.